What's going on, guys? Step3 doing another video, and welcome back to an episode of Umineko When They Cry. Last time we left off, George and Shannon went on a date, and then Shannon started screaming about Beatrice and mirrors, and then we went to Rokenzima, and then Jessica's parents started acting like usual dicks. So then Jessica went out to the garden to talk to Shannon about her relationship with George. Yeah, a lot happened, and you may be wondering, Knight, how do you remember such stuff? Well, I forgot to save my game, so I just had to replay through the entire last section, which is a lot of fun. But it was certainly the first time she had noticed George as a member of the opposite sex. She was furniture, and George was an honored guest connected to the Ushiromiya family. She had thought it was impermissible to even imagine any deeper relationship, so she hadn't thought about it. Jessica was taking immense pleasure in poking fun at all this, since it didn't affect her. Shannon was doing her best to make sure that her blushing cheeks weren't discovered. So if George showed up at a time like that, there'd be no way that she would be able to keep her cool. They thought, oh my god, wow, what amazing timing, George. He headed over waving his hand. Shannon had to frantically try to regain her ordinary composure before George reached them. He did? Oh my, why didn't you do that last episode? That would have, like, solved half the issues there. Oh my god. I agree.
そんな言い方は悪いよ。ただ、おじい様は僕らのことを疫病神だと思っているかもしれないね。何しろ、事業用にお金を借りたいという話でやってきたんだから。
Yeah, I get the feeling this family doesn't just get together for holidays and stuff. They only get together to discuss money. That's right, this wasn't the customary annual October family. I kind of figured that much, otherwise Badawa would be here. Eva's family had visited to apply for a business loan from the main family. Kinzo had vast resources and he lent those out to his children. Of course, this was not money to lend because they had gotten themselves into financial trouble. How would they expand their business using vast amount of money that they borrowed? How much interest would be attached, and how soon could it be repaid? This wasn't a loan for the have-nots, it was a loan for those who were on the offensive. Kinzo judged strictly whether it was worth lending out his fortune, and afterwards he strictly oversaw its use. So there were occasionally these spectacle where relatives visited Rokenzima and explained their business to Kinzo. To the parents, it may well have been a meeting concerning the movement of large sums of money forcing immense stress upon them. But to Jessica, who lived on the isolated island called Rokenzima, it was a precious opportunity to meet up with her cousins. So even her bad mood from getting into that fight with her mother was immediately crushed by this chat with the infrequent visitor George.
金なんて余ってるんだろうから気前よく貸してやりゃいいのによ。うちの親父もじい様もどうせねちっこくもったいぶってんだろうぜ。
お金を貸すとき慎重になるのは当然のことだよ。もちろんうちの父さんも借り入れた分で事業を拡大し、
Oh my god, George is doing the thing he did last episode where, like, whenever anyone makes a complaint about the family, he's just like, oh, it's fine, even though, like, it's really not
プレ
fine.
ゼンテーション次第ってところだろうね。本当は脇で見させてもらって勉強したいんだけど、
Why?
母さんに追い出されちゃったんだよ。
Oh.
ちょっと残念かな。
親方様はクラウス様やエヴァ様のことを今でも子供の頃と全く変わらないように叱られるそんな姿を息子のジョージ様にきっと見せたくないのでしょう。
As Shannon hung her head, she thought about those scenes she had grown used to seeing while working in the mansion. Even Kraus, who acted haughtily towards his siblings, was still treated like a child by Kinzo. Shannon herself had often seen Kinzo slapping Kraus and making him sit in the Caesar style. It was probably deeply humiliating. I love the fun to have that forced upon him at his age. In the Ushiromiya family, taking care not to be present when this happened was one of the greatest tasks of the servants. Of course, that did mean that Shannon had been making mistakes by being witness to it.
そうだろうね。それを察して姿を消すのも子供の務めかな。
Yeah, no, George is like way too optimistic about like everything.
それにしても今年もこの庭園の花は本当に素敵だね。
George just as he said that, and truly effortlessly he changed the subject away from something that had been a little gloomy. This time Shannon noticed it too. This person, George, was highly sensitive to the mood of the group and was always caring enough to change the subject to something humorous. It had been so smooth that Shannon hadn't noticed it until today. Today, Shannon really had to... Oh my god, she's admiring her boyfriend. Almost all the boys Seinen knew of her own age were her classmates during her education, but they were all immature, and none of them had the composure that George did. Even though they had been just another guest until a moment ago, now she could describe him with just that. But that was idle thinking, irrelevant to her work as a servant. Shannon tried to chase it away with a small shake of her head. Oh, Jessica, yes, pressure her, peer pressure. No, you can prepare more than that. Prepare your declaration of love.
紅茶の名前覚えてくれたんだね。嬉しいよ。
I think this was before the date thing that we watched. Shannon was finally able to put her thanks into words. If you wrote them on paper, they wouldn't seem like much. But Shannon had needed just a little courage to say them out loud. But George played dumb.
何のことだい？お礼を言われるような覚えはないけど。
It seemed he was being a gentleman in his own way, saying that he hadn't helped her because he wanted to be thanked. It seemed that George's response had been more or less predictable to Jessica. She burst out laughing uncontrollably. Jessica made fun of Shannon as he remained silent, red-faced. George didn't know the details, but he naturally joined in, laughing the same way. The three of them lazily walked around the garden, talking about what... Oh my god, Shannon has replaced Battler. George, as the oldest cousin, talked about his life experiences. Jessica talked about recent life on Rokenzima, and Shannon talked about her recent work. These silly little topics went round and round in circles. Even when the other stories had been fascinating, Shannon had never felt particularly connected to their contents. She was nothing more than a servant. She had no intention of delving into her master's lives. She simply wanted them to enjoy their time speaking with her, and was only pretending to listen intently and nodding at the right moments. But for some reason, she found talking with George deeply interesting today. Even for things that she would normally ignore, she felt she could feel a kindness hidden beneath the words. For some reason, she wanted to know more things about George, no matter how trivial. So she stared. Okay, I don't think you would go up to someone and just start staring at them to get them to tell you your life story. Maybe in interrogations that works, but not here. She thought that as far looks when this person's Ushiromiya George was probably about average and didn't really stick out. But he was diligent, serious, and deeply thoughtful in a way that allowed him to understand people's hurts and care for them. But she had never been aware of those things until now. She might have not have met him many times, but she had known his face for many years. Even so, she hadn't noticed once until now. So Shannon felt the same for this, and her cheeks went red. Maybe George thought that Shannon was appreciating him talking about himself because he continued to relate to his personal stories, but Jessica didn't miss the slight change in Shannon. So she turned the discussion around the topics Shannon wanted to hear about most. Oh my god. Normally, just George's reaction would have been answer enough. But for some reason, as she was now, Shannon found herself unable to understand unless he said it clearly. Oh. Oh. I guess George just disappeared. Yeah, Jessica's doing a good job right here.
嬉しい勘違いをありがとう。残念だけど、特定の一人の女性とはまだご縁がない。
Come on, Shannon, do it.
見ての通り、
There's no better time than right now. Do it right
女
now.
の子を楽しくさせてあげられるような
Come on.
気の利いた話術もないし。
Jessica, make fun of her more until she admits her love. Seriously though, Umineko, like, at least the first episode and the second episode is so far seeming like it's gonna be like this too, where like it goes from haha funny, fun and games, oh my god, ooh, wait, that's interesting, oh my god, there's people dead, oh my god, and then so rinse and repeat. Shannon was uncharacteristically verbose. Compared to her normal self, she was being very wordy indeed. George looking fairly pleased about hearing his own term described, but he was a little surprised at this high praise. Jessica, so now that her imagination went on, acted as though she could barely hold back her laughter.
シャノンちゃん、僕に魅力を感じてくれるような寛大な女性に早く巡り会いたいね。
You just did.
きっと巡り会えると思います。ジョージ様の本当の魅力に気づいている女性はきっといいえ、大勢いらっしゃると思いますよ。
She probably wanted to say there's a girl not very far away. She avoided saying that much, drawing a final line as a servant.
そうかな。さすがに照れるね。
Maybe he had never been praised as much by a girl. George's face turned just as bright red as Shannon's. As he watched the two of them, Jessica giggled sadistically.
ジョージ兄さんもやがては素敵なパートナーと出会うだろうけどさ、今のままじゃきっと上手にパートナーをエスコートできないと思うぜ。勤勉でいらっしゃるようだけど、そっちのお勉強はからっきしみたいですよ。
悪かったね。その勉強はこれから少しずつしていくよ。
相手もいないのにどうやって？恋愛映画でも見る？それとも秀吉おじさんに習う？
チェ、まるで鬼の首でも取ったみたいだな。こういう話では男は女の子にかなわないね。
Normally when George and Jessica got together, their parents would say George is diligent and admirable and Jessica is lazy and rude. So it was probably irresistible fun for Jessica when the roles were finally reversed. George also realized this at the time. He was content with being the one who was teased.
ジョージ兄さんさえ。
Yeah, I feel really bad for Jessica. Like, I mean, especially with Natsui and Kraus.
どうよ。
そんなお嬢様。
When she heard Jessica's audacious plan, Shannon's face turned bright red and a dun of smoke rose with a poof.
それはとても魅力的な提案だけど、シャノン彼女の貴重な休日を奪うだけじゃない。彼女が本当に思いを寄せる人と二人きりで過ごす聖域に僕が割り込んでしまうことになる。そんな無粋なことはできないね。
思い人とかそういう人はいませんので、そういうお気遣いは、はい、無用なのです。
Shannon's blood had rushed to her head. It looked like even she didn't know what she was babbling about. Jessica, who knew how Shannon normally was, seemed to find that really comical. She couldn't hide her cackling laugh anymore.
そうなのかい？シャノンちゃんみたいな可愛い子が独り身なんて信じられないね。
Well, she's kind of stuck on an island right now.
私、使用人ですから、
Yeah.
男の方との縁なんてありませんし、
ってことは、シャノンも将来素敵な男性を射止めるために交際の練習が必要だってことじゃないのかよ。つまり二人とも互いの思惑は一致するわけだ。なるほど、こりゃいいぜ。
Jessica irresponsibly cheered the two of them on. Now George was also hanging his head red-faced.
ジョージ、さっきから呼んでるわよ。聞こえないの？
Since how long has she been here? Eva appeared in what was already an embarrassing situation. Both of them became even more flustered. Jessica was in stitches.
母さん、ごめんよ。話が込み入っちゃってね。
Yeah, you sure that that's the right word?
これはエヴァ様、大変失礼しました。
若い子たち同士で大層盛り上がってたみたいね。あなたたちもみんなお年頃だもの。そういう話題が尽きないのもよくわかるわ。
嫌ですね。エヴァおばさんだってまだまだお若いじゃないですか。秀吉おじさんとの馴れ初めを聞かせてくださいよ。
あら、そんなの言えるわけないわよ。本当にみんな若いんだから。
それで何母さん、用があって声をかけたんじゃないの？
お父さんたちの話が終わったわ。おじいさまにあなたの話をするからいらっしゃい。
僕の話？何の話かな？
今みんなでしてたのと同じ話よ。ほら、例の。
あの話か。別におじいさまに話すようなことじゃないんじゃないかな。
What's gonna happen? Yeah.
まさかジョージ兄さん、誰かと結婚するの
？Oh my god.
おめでとうございます。
I doubt it's
違うよ。
that. Yeah.
特定の女性はいないってさっき言ったじゃないか。
威張ることじゃないでしょ。まったく。
Eva smiled bitterly, looking a little exasperated.
わかった。ジョージ兄さん、あれでしょ。お見合いだ。
お見合い。
まあね。
Huh? As a man, George undoubtedly wanted to find a partner by himself and carry off himself. So it seemed that he found the idea of meeting his partner for the first time in a marriage meeting.
お見合いというのはもっと
Wait, he
年
actually
齢が
has
成熟
one?
してからするものに僕はまだ一人前になったって自覚すらないと言って
もちろん即結納即結婚なんて
Oh,
焦る気は全然ないのよ。親睦を深めて年齢的にもう少し落ち着いてから籍を入れる形でも問題ないの。
Oh. From a forceful impression Eva was giving, in George's evasiveness, it seemed like you could catch a glimpse of how this marriage meeting linked into everything. Who this other person was remained unclear, but it was surely some... Oh, this is horrible! Quick, attack!
結婚はね、好きになってからするものじゃないの。してから慣れることよ。
No! They're ruining my sipping, and if you want to do one thing, if you don't want to do one thing, it's ruin my
感情だけで
sipping.
結婚すると必ず後悔する。身元のしっかりした人を生涯の伴侶に選んで、それから愛情を築いていくのも決して間違ったことではないの。
エヴァおばさん、それじゃ秀吉おじさんに悪い。
私はあの人のいつまでも一緒にいて人生を共にしていきたい。
So it was probably arranged.
素晴らしいです。本当にご立派です。
ありがとう。でもその気持ちは二人で夫婦をしていくうちに育んだものよ。そして今の私たちより未来の私たちの方がもっともっと仲良しだと信じてる。
I feel like that's
私
wrong.
は夫婦はそういうものがいいと思ってるの。
だからって好きでもない相手と結婚してもいいって論法にはならないと思うけどな。
だからって好きな相手なら誰と結婚してもいいという論法にはならないわ。結婚は一瞬。でもその後の夫婦生活はずっとずっと長いの。
Oh
だ
my
から
god.
一時の感情に任せず
George,
慎重に相手を
no.
探すべきなの。
Don't fall to the dark
そ
side.
してそれは人生経験の未熟
Yeah,
な
no,
あ
my
なたよ
my
り
brain's just
お
turned
母さん
off
た
right
ちの
now.
方がうまくやれる
Just
とは
trying
思わない
Just try to enjoy the episode and make jokes.
それはそうか
I'll
もしれ
save
ない
my
けど
theories for when something mysterious
あなた
happens.
は私の自慢の一人息子よ。どこへ出しても恥ずかしくないくらい立派に成長してくれたわ。バトラ君は籍を抜け、あなたが今やお父様の
Oh
血を引
yeah,
く
this is
唯一
when
の
battle
男
were
の子。
kinda
あなたにふさわしい相手は慎重に選ばなくてはならない。
As everyone related to the Ushima family knew, Eva adored George so much that he was the apple of her eye, but that didn't mean she had pampered him. She had raised him strictly and he had grown into a charming man who wouldn't betray her expectations. That's how he was the apple of her eye.
あなたの相手は決して母さんたちの損得で決めてなんかいないわ。あなたにふさわしい本当に素晴らしい女性に今はあなたの中にある青臭い若さがそれを疎むかもしれない。でもこれだけは母さんの言うことを聞きなさい。私があなたのためを思わなかったことが一度でもある？
それはないけど。
Well, actually, in episode 1, you kinda did when you were accusing people of murder and then you ended up dead yourself.
今はそれで結
And
構
then
よ。
you left George all by himself, so yeah.
さあ行きましょう。お父様を待たせてるわよ。急いで屋敷に行きなさい。
Kinda wanna see this conversation. I wanna see how Kinzo
ごめん
reacts.
ね、二人とも。また後で。
Because honestly, I haven't seen Kinzo interact with like anyone in the main family.
じゃあおばさんも行くわね。楽しい話を打ち切っちゃってごめんね、ジェシカちゃん。シャノンちゃん。
いえ気にしないでください。じゃあシャノン、私たちは行こうぜ。
Yeah, we need to make a plan.
大丈夫よ。ジェシカちゃんだってきっとそのうち素敵な出会いがある。ジェシカちゃんにふさわしい
私と同程度ってことは成績の悪い男かな。なんだかうぜえぜ。
もちろんシャノンちゃんにもね、あなたにふさわしい素敵な男性がきっと現れるわよ。
ありがとうございます。
As Eva giggled and smiled, she approached Shannon's ear with her hand over her mouth as though she was trying to tell her a secret. What did she say?
使用人風情のあなたにぴったりの相手が
Huh?
きっと見つかるわよ。義務教育に行かせてもらった恩も忘れて身の程を知りなさい。
そんなつもりは。
Oh my!
私。
I hate
ジョージ
Eva
はお父様の
again!
血を引く孫の中では嫡男にひょっとしたら未来の後宮家を背負うことになるかもしれない。その期待に応えるためにたくさんの勉強を重ねて素晴らしい大学に入り、そんなジョージと無能無資格無教養な使用人風情
Oh
が
my
強い
god!
と
Those malicious words all poured into Shannon's ear without spelling a drop. To Shannon, it was like cold water.
私はそんなつもりは。
This was all whispered in secret, and with the same smile as before. Jessica could only see Eva's expression and didn't think it was anything other than Eva telling Shannon some embarrassing... Oh my god.
大丈夫。あなたにぴったりのお相手がきっとね。
No! I hate her so
じゃあね、ジェ
much.
シカちゃん。また後でね。
She's a bitch. Get her out of here.
またあと秀吉おじさんとの話、その時聞かせてくださいね。
You've committed war crimes
いや
against Shannon.
よ。
Eva laughed dryly and headed back to the entrance hall, behind Jessica, who was cheerfully waving her hand. Shannon reflected very, very deeply. Oh my... That's horrible. I knew she wasn't that nice. I felt deep remorse for my brief moment of conceit. I had forgotten. I am furniture. Furniture isn't human, so I am a being who must gratitude for even being treated like a human. I am not permitted to wish for anything more. Even if people develop affection for furniture that they're used to using, that is an emotion on the human side, and the furniture has no right to hope for that. They should just... Honestly, that's horrible. But that I felt when talking with George-sama and Jessica-sama is a forbidden drug for me. In other words, it may have been an emotion I must not know.
シャノン、先ほどからぼんやりが過ぎます。体調でも悪いのですか？
This makes sense why she did the mirror thing. Maybe she tried to do like black magic because she wanted everyone to Could she be a culprit? I mean, if the episodes are tied together, then she might be a probable culprit from episode 1. But no. I mean, she was killed early last time.
失礼いたしました。
Natsuhi's words, too distracted, were right on the mark. Even Shannon couldn't believe that she hadn't noticed Natsuhi until she had been called. This was supposed to be the time when she had to concentrate on cleaning, but she just kept silent and hadn't accomplished
たと
anything.
えお客様がおられなくても、常にそんな様では、後宮家に仕える使用人として情けありませんよ。
Yeah, remember last episode when I liked Natsui? Yeah.
はい、以後注意します。
もうじき、当主様と主人がお帰りになられます。書斎の清掃は済んでいますか？階段の清掃は済んでいますか？
申し訳ございません。
ええ、知っています。ですから、ルノンにやらせておき、あなたがもたもたと廊下を清掃している時間で、彼女は書斎と階段の清掃を済ませてしまいましたよ。
それは丁寧にお掃除をしていたから時間がかかってしまって。
Shannon was simple and honest, so she would always carry out her tasks serious and proper without any omissions. She had always slow with her work. In contrast, Moonin skillfully cut corners whenever they had to be cut. So this must be another servant. Compared to her words, we already saw that Shannon, who had just talked back to Natsui when she was already in a bad mood, was not sure in the slightest. Of course, there was nothing that Natsui couldn't stand more than a servant talking back. Her forehead creased and she spoke sternly. And yet her speech was slow and edmizing, which was terrifying beyond measure, and finally made Shannon realize that she said the wrong thing.
ならば、存分に丁寧な清掃をシャノン。あなたにこのまま大広間の清掃主様の大切な絵画が多数飾られ、後宮家への賓客をお招きすることもある。誇り一つ残さないよう、あなたが納得するまで、もちろん今日中にです。それを終えて私に報告するまで、食事も休憩も許しません。わかりましたね？
Wow.
結構使用人はその言葉だけを口
Okay,
にするよ
Shannon
う
might
に
become my new favorite. Sorry,
次の口
Jessica,
答
but I
えに
feel
は
bad.
よ
I
り
feel
厳しい
badder
罰
for
を与
her
えま
than
す
I
か
do
ら
for you.
そのつもりでよく胸に刻んでおきなさい。
はい、奥様、ご指導をありがとうございます。
どういたしまして。
Natsui headed off to the corridor, making a gesture as if her headache was troubling her. Once Shannon couldn't see her anymore, she hung her head inside. This happened because I let my thoughts take me. I might be bad at everything I do, but I should at least be able to carry out the cleaning as well as an average person can, right? I can't even do that properly. It's so pathetic it makes me cry. And there's something even more pathetic. Not only was I unable to perform a single bit of cleaning well, but just now, when Natsui was scolding me, I was envisioning him appearing and rescuing me. If only George-sama had been here. Perhaps he would have casually stepped in and saved me. I'm sure it would oh my... This episode's really making me sad. I kept envisioning him suddenly appearing from the other side of the door, or the other end of the hallway. I envisioned the kind of person that would be an appropriate partner for him in a marriage meeting, and I envisioned how unfitting I am for him. Eva had told me that clearly. It had repeated endlessly through my dreams.
姉さんは相変わらず不器用だね。奥様は今朝から虫の居所が悪い。黙ってうなずいていればいいものを余計なことを言うから。
カノン君。
It's the email. His footsteps were always there, quieter than a cat's, and he left no trace of his presence. She probably wouldn't have noticed him no matter how long he stood there. The expression on Cannon's face was hatred. Oh my... This is just backing up my Cannon culprit theory for episode 1.
奥様もそしてルノンも地獄へ落ちろ。あいつは奥様がどこをチェックするか知っててそこしか掃除しない。
Wow.
さっきの掃除もそうだった。見ていたから知ってる。本当の意味での掃除なんかしてないんだよ。丁寧に掃除する姉さんに寄生してるだけの最低なやつだ。
そんな汚い言葉を使って汚い言葉はカノン君の綺麗な魂まで汚してしまう。
I don't think he cares. Like, look at his expression. I know he shouldn't laugh, but just her saying that, his expression, like, he doesn't
だから
care.
せめて私の前ではそんな言葉遣いをしないでね。
Cannon faced away, acting sulky. It was a dishonest reaction, very like Cannon-kun, but I was a little happy. He got angry in my
大
place.
広間の掃除は大変だよ。僕も手伝う。
ありがとう。でも奥様に命じられたのは私だから大丈夫。カノン君にも自分のお仕事があるんでしょ。
汚らわしい仕事だよ。僕の魂なんて。
Huh?
手伝ってくれるという言葉だけで
I thought he was about to just talk about magic or something.
カノン君も自分の仕事に戻らないとあなたまで罰を受けることになっちゃう。そしたら私は悲しい。
Shannon knew Cannon's character well. Sometimes he didn't reflect on himself. If I don't refuse forcefully, he will help me even if it means neglecting his own job. Cannon was a little sad that his favor had been rejected, but he realized that in the end, going too far would also cause her pain. He gave a small sigh.
わかったよ。姉さんも頑張って。
それに私にも
姉さんには責任なんて何もないよ。
あるの。だから
Cannon-kun's face showed that he still hadn't completely accepted it, but he stopped being persistent and disappeared. Even though Cannon-kun had given me the words of comfort when I was down, even so, I was still dejected because it hadn't been him. That was simply a sin. Far beyond any dream that likes of me could permit to see, know your place. Shannon, who had neglected breakfast, was already starting to feel her thoughts' attitude. But as he didn't finish cleaning the reception hall, she couldn't receive Natsuhi's permission to eat. That cruel Natsuhi had surely told the kitchen of that. I have respectfully received Madame's punishment. That's right. My position in this world is furniture, and I had been intoxicated by a dream that is beyond me. I finished cleaning the hallway and went to the reception hall. Maybe hungrier, but makes a noise more sensitive. The kitchen was far away, but somehow I could smell the delicious aroma wafting from there, stimulating my empty stomach all the more. Until I finished up here, I could not get any soup. I just had to prepare myself. Several portraits were hung in the reception hall. One of his portraits was among the servants to hold a very special meaning. It's Beatrice. Beatrice. It was the portrait of the witch. That wasn't its true name, but everyone in the mansion called it that. The name of the woman whose elegant blonde hair drawn the subject of that portrait was Beatrice. It was whispered that she might be the former mistress of the family head, Kinzo, and also that she was a great witch who had been given Kinzo's legendary gold. The witch Beatrice, master of the night on Rokenzima. She was gracious to those who respected her, but she was always cursed those who made light of her. It was in Sanen's character not to neglect rules and beliefs such as those. So she thought of the portrait of her master as that person herself and always treated it carefully, treasuring it. It had become part of her daily routine to talk inside her own head to the witch who had only existed inside the portrait. And that's what the mirror thing. That's the answer. Cannot complain. She had no right to speak about her mind, about her difficult days, no right to open her mouth and say those words, so she had to at least speak her mind inside her heart. Those words couldn't... Was she gonna start yelling? Of course the witch didn't answer. She never consoled and never laughed it off. Shannon could only interpret it as silence as she liked, as though the witch was at least listening attentively.
Beatrice-sama, みすぼらしい私の話を聞いて。
As Shannon wiped the dust from the witch's portrait, she spoke inside her heart.
私は確かにエヴァ様の言う通り無能で無教養な家具です。人じゃない。だから恋をする資格などないかもしれません。でもだったらどうして恋を知ることのできる心など。
Shannon paused there and held back her tears for a time. The sound of the rain which had started falling along with the chilling air in the reception hall made her feel as though her happiness had increased another level.
本当の家具なら心なんかない。だから人を愛したりしなくて済む。だから苦しまない。私も同じ家具なのにどうして心なんかあるんですか？
Okay. Before we continue, we must divide the characters into assholes and not assholes. Not assholes, asshole, asshole, asshole. Simple as that.
こんな苦しくて辛い思いをするならこんな心なんて。
Oh. What?
なるほど。
What?
家具に心を与えたか。あれも時には愉快なことを
Is
す
the
る。
painting talking? Or is like... Oh, the witch who never answered laughed answered and laughed. What the fuck? Please don't actually show yourself. After all, the next words became a voice and I could hear them, not with my heart but with my ears.
人間は世界を構成する元素について紀元前の昔から探求を続けてきた。古代ギリシャ人たちは風、火、水、土の4つで世界の説明を試みたという。その後も数千年かけて人間たちはその4つに様々な元素を5代、6代、7代、8代、12代と唯一の真実である。しか
Is
し
it love?
星の導きによって現れた
But
一
seriously,
人の男が
Oh my
つい
god.
にこの
Last
世
time she
界を
didn't
構
show
成
herself
す
until
る
the tea
一なる
party.
元素を説
And
明
now
し
she's fucking talking to Shannon.
何かわかるか？
Shannon fearfully turned around. Oh my god! What the fuck? Okay, so witches definitely exist. I thought I confirmed that in the tea party, even though I doubted myself. She's standing right there. Okay, so magic Rokenzima is a thingy. There's thingies at the Rokenzima magic. So, okay, that solves one of her questions. Now, please don't be the killer. I want my theories to be correct. not an illusion in reality. The contrast made by the lightning made it clear that it was not just a daydream.
それは
Oh my god, I got it right. Beatrice, are you happy? The wizard that portrait elegantly held her golden pipe to her mouth and giggled. She laughed at the ignorance which caused mankind start to stray far from the most simple answer.
その男は世界のすべてを愛で説明した。それこそが一なる元素。男は最小の数で
Now who's
世界の
Battler?
構成を説明しきったのだ。
He's yet to show
な
himself
ん
and
と
that
も
makes me
単
sad.
純明快にして豪快爽快愉快痛快やがてその男の生まれた年は西暦紀元と
Okay, yeah, so
呼ばれるよう
the
になった
question
かな。
has it's been solved. Magic is real, but I'm gonna stand by not the killer. And you may be wondering, well, didn't you say magic was real last tea party when this happened? Well, it was a tea party, aka an after party. So, of course, I mean, something like that could happen. But this is in the freaking chapter 1 of episode 2 of Umineko. This is something different. Shannon lost any words to speak. She thought that when first meeting an unknown guest, her first words should ask that person's name. Without saying anything, instead I knew the person's name, so she refrained. No, surely a person of this island asking this person for a name would have been the greatest disrespect, because he was the other master of the island in addition to Kinzo.
ベアトリーチェ様。
いかにも
Oh, it made the noise. It made the noise. It made the noise. Characters. Yup. She's here. Are we missing, like, a slot here? Because I find it a little strange how, like, there's just an empty space there. I mean, obviously this empty space is a reason. Just there could be more people.
わらわがベアトリーチェである。千年を経ても人がわらわを見て最初に浮かべる表情は変わらんな。
The witch giggled at how Sand's reaction didn't betray her expressions. Sand realized that she had to meet with the being that mustn't be met with, and she took a step backwards. That's where the wall and the portrait were, so even as she gazed at the witch, she supported the witch's portrait on her
お
back.
前の悩みはそれはすなわちつまりこの世のすべてそれが満たされぬということは世界が満たされぬに同じこと。それは穴の開いた水筒に水を汲み続けるのに似ている。汲めども汲めども満たされぬ永遠の心の砂漠。人間の基礎にして全てにして現在。わかるか？知識の実を口にしたアダムとイブが知ったのは愛だったのだ。それを知ったがゆえに人は楽園を追われ人足りえたのだ。すなわちそれは愛を知り苦しむからこそ人であること。心優しき娘そなたは誇っていい。それを知った今そなたはもはや家具にあらず。
She's evolved like a
そ
Pokemon.
なたは今こそ人間なのだ。我が名にかけてそれを認めようぞ。凡庸の身には理解もつらき話か。まあよいわ。
I don't think it's hurt, I think it's more of, holy fuck, you just
許
appeared.
すがいい。久しぶりに人間と話すのでな。饒舌が過ぎたことを謝る。
Without expecting a reply from Shannon, Beatrice laughed pleasantly for a while.
詫びと言ってはなんだがわらわの力でそなたのその願望を叶えてやってもよいぞ。
That explains the beginning even more. I know that's like what I keep saying this entire episode, but the meaning of the word surprised Shannon even more than the witch's sudden appearance.
そなたを思い人と添い遂げさせてやってもよいと言っている。本来ならばそれに見合うだけの対価を要求するところだ。
But love is priceless.
わらわは機嫌が良い。それにそなたはわらわへの礼を欠かさず今日までそれへの褒美としてやってもよい。
本当ですか？
Normally, Shannon would have been shocked by this guest who lacked realism and wouldn't have been able to speak. However, as though she had already been caught in the witch's trap, Shannon responded to the witch.
わらわの魔法にかかれば思い人と結ばれるように取り計らうなど造作もない。
Yeah, no, at the beach, it was just like a miracle occurred. A witch is a witch, a sinister being. The witch Beatrice and Pooh trying to slip in through the cracks of my heart and take me prisoner. That sort of temptation was much. No, take the deal. That'll make the story more interesting.
これでは拉致が開かぬな。わらわは確かにそなたらが意味嫌う魔女像から離れはせぬ。だがわらわは敬う者には好意を返す。それは人間も同じであろう。そのように身構えられて好意を返せる人間も。
失礼しました。そんなつもりは。
Shannon finally realized that her hostility was rude to this guest, and she finally digested the words that had been spoken to her a short while ago. You are no longer furniture. Now you are a human. The more she reflected upon these words, the more Shannon felt as though Beatrice could understand all of her suffering.
さっきのその褒美の話って何ですか？
お前がその心を虜にする男と結ばれるように取り計らってもいいといわらわの肖像画を日々丹念に磨いてくれたことへの礼とでも思うがよい。安心せよ。
Is she just going crazy of lack of hunger?
わらわは気前がよい。だがな。
Wait, I did check that there was a human. Is there like a witch side now? No, it's still only human side. Look, here it comes. The other Shannon had inside her heart sent her a warning. This is what she had been so often warned in all those scary picture books she had read when she was little. Oh my god, everything makes sense. The mystery of 40 minutes has been finally solved by another 40 minutes. Shannon immediately remembered it. When you reach Wakenzima by boat, there was a Torii in the sun in the... Oh yeah! Wasn't that the thing that Maria said that was missing when they arrived on the boat? Oh my god.
知っていますが、それが何か。
魔に通じぬものに一から説明はせぬ。早い話がだな。あれには参っておるのだ。実はな、あの祠の中にある鏡が収められている。それをそなたに割ってほしいというのだ。
That was a very suspicious request. Shannon didn't know its history, but anything that might be stones at a shrine would be something sacred. And she wants me to break it? Yeah, go for it. Why would someone as powerful as a witch be unable to do that herself and be asking a human for help? There was no need for Shannon to speak her thoughts aloud. Beatrice started talking about this reasonable question before Shannon could give her an answer.
あの鏡の魔力はわらわの魔力と相対する。人の言葉でうまく説明できぬな。例えれば食器の違いとでも言おうか。あの鏡はフォークで、わらわの力はスープなのだ。
I like how it's just Japanese and it's like, fuck, soup.
フォークでスープは飲めまい？あの鏡の押し付けさえなければ、わらわはスープを飲むのにぴったりのスプーンが用意。それさえあれば、スープも飲めるし、いわ目玉だってえぐり貫ける。
Oh.
だったか？
何の話かわかりません。私の無教養のせいだとしたら謝ります。
こういうことだ。あの忌々しい鏡をわらわのために割る手間をかけてくれたな。その褒美としてそなたの願いを叶えてやるということだ。
Yeah, very good mood. A mood to break some curses.
そなたが望む
Who's
な
that
ら
assume that's what she's
願い
trying
事を
to
変え
do?
て金蔵に授けた黄金を丸ごとくれてやることにし
So,
て
oh
もよ
my
いぞ。
god, okay. Yeah, so the beginning was just like, the witch is intended to come at you and make you surrender right away. Yeah, this is that. Though you haven't killed anyone yet, so I will never surrender. And also for for content reasons. No, I'm just joking.
お
Oh.
断りします。
No, you're making this story boring. When she heard Shannon's words, Beatrice realized for the first time that her expectations had been betrayed.
理由があれば聞かせよ。誤解があるなら解こうぞ。
理由なんてよくわかでも、今日までこの島は平和で何も起こりませんでした。なら鏡を割らなくても今日までと同じ平和がこれからも続いていくはずです。
なるほどなるほど。それはもっともだな。そなたの言う通り、あれを割らぬなら割れぬ今日までと同じ日々
Yeah, but you're miserable in those
わらわ
days.
が絶対の保証をしようではない。ベアトリーチェの名にかけて言う。割れぬ今日までと同じ日々が明日も明後日もそれは永久に。
Shannon was seized by an eerie illusion. The mirror was most likely something to restrain the witch, so breaking the mirror should have been something done for the witch's sake. And yet, it felt as though Shannon had done it for her own sake. It felt like some premise had been switched.
わらわはあくまでも褒美としてそなたに思いを成就する機会を与えた。割ろうが割るまいが割ればわらわはそなたの願いを叶え、割らねば今日までの明日が永遠に続く。そなたの願いは
Yeah, I think the hunger is making her see things. This is all a
わ
mirage.
かるか？何を言っているか。
No, I do not understand what you were saying, Beatrice. Oh, okay, that music came out of nowhere. The witch was telling her. She was pressing her, saying to break the mirror if she wanted to be joined to George. And she was declaring that if she didn't break it, her feelings would definitely never be fulfilled.
やめてくだ、そんなの聞きたくない。
そなたを苦しめたかったわけではないのだがな。まあ愛に狂しさを感じるも人間の醍醐味よ。その感情を存分に楽しむがよい。だが我が力を借りたいと願ったならいつでもあの鏡を割るがよい。そして我が名を叫び呼び覚ますがよい。わらわは必ず約束を守るだろう。これならば文句はあるまい。
Okay, yeah, everything makes sense now.
そなたに今すぐの決断を迫るは気楽であろう。
Was this deal ultimately something she could feel at ease with? Definitely not. The Shannon who was burning with love, tormented by passion, being tempted forever by a way of escape was far too
こ
cruel
の約束
a
に期
trial.
限は設けぬが、願いを叶える魔法には期限がある。その期限はわらわが決めるのではない。そなたの思い人が自ら決め。意味がわかるか？
わかりません。
そなたの思い人が愛のちぎりを結ぶべき相手を決めた時が、そのわらわは魔女だが鬼ではない。互いを愛し合う二人を引き裂く魔法は持ち合わせていないのでな。
Wow, how corny.
そなたの思い人は近いうちに見合いに臨むそうだな。そなたは世界で一番その男のことを思っているかもしれん。だが世界で一番ふさわしいとは限らんぞ。わらわは見合いの相手を知っている。その娘は世界で一番後宮上良い学校を出て良い成績を残し、落ち着きがあって視力お前より美しく、お前より聡明で、お前のような無知無能無教養の娘がどうしてふさわしかろう。お前が一番知って、お前が一番ふさわしくな。お前と後宮ジョージが結ばれるなど想像するだけでも罪深い。
Is this conversation really happening? Is this starting to feel like more of her? Yeah. It's more like her thoughts. So many Beatrices. Is she gone?
やめろ
Oh!
シャノンをいじめる
Whoa!
貴様は誰だ
Oh, wait, he sees the okay, yeah, no, this isn't something else. At the time, as Shannon held her hand, trying to protect her heart from the weight of Beatrice's words, Cannon ran in front of her. Cannon didn't care who this woman was. As long as he knew he was an enemy tormenting Shannon, what he loved. Oh my
カノ
god.
ン君下がってこの方は
It seemed like Cannon also realized that being standing in him was the witch of the portrait. And also, that was a terrifying being.
シャノンに褒美を取らせたかっただけだが、わらわの言葉が過ぎ、それは謝ろう。だが、先ほどの約束は、そなたへの褒美、わらわの力が必要ならば、その方法はすでにでは、これにて今宵は退散しよ
Whoa.
う。敵意の
That
眼
was
差しは
very
心地よくあるが。
interesting.
消えろお前が何者か知らないがお前はシャノンを脅かしている二度と現れるな
It seemed like Cannon's words made the witch horribly displeased.
言葉を選ばぬか下船めわらわは敬う者に寛大だが
With this, while she still smiled, the witch's expression began to warp. And they, oh. Even though they, oh no, this is bad. If you're swimming in the ocean, something words went by in the water beneath you, you'd want to escape the land before you even learned what it was. This was the same as that.
おやめくださいベアトリーチェ様カノン君はまだ子供な言葉遣いについては謝ります
Cannon blocked the way of Shannon at the risk of his own life. There was a tense sweat on his forehead. In that moment, the witch certainly had Cannon's fate in her clutches. She didn't even need to move a finger. She had Cannon's fate so readily. Oh my god. Cannon also understood that, which is why he was sweating, and he felt his knees weaken. However, Beatrice abruptly released that. I love how they always use her name in caps.
よかろうそなたが求めるならカノンとやら彼女に免じて今宵は許して使わす感謝するがよいぞさて別れの挨拶に一つ土産を残そう二人とも左手の手のひらをこちらへかざせ
Beatrice grinned broadly and snapped her fingers, whereupon their left hands stretched out in front of them. They point against where? It was a strange sensation as though only the left hands had become someone else's. I felt like they're... What the hell? Puppets? Cannon resisted, but he couldn't take back the freedom of his left hand.
騒ぐな
What is he doing? Is he doing surgery? Beatrice held her pipe aloft, and from inside the smoke, gold-colored sparkling dust hovered in the air. Oh my god, there's butterflies. That glitter eventually became several gold butterflies. The beautiful butterflies danced freely through the reception hall, creating a fantastical and beautiful world. And the two of those butterflies are in the palms of Shannon and Cannon's hands. There was a sharp pain as they had been burdened. When the two of them tried to examine their palms, there was no choice left to an ability to move their bodies. What the hell just happened? No. On the palms of their hand, a small burn mark had been made the size of a pea. Furthermore, it was shaped like a butterfly.
これは何の真似だ
Apparently, Cannon had the same bruise on his hand. He stared at the witch hatefully.
単なる挨拶体はないただのあざに過ぎぬからほんの数日で言えよう手当ても必要ないそれはわらわが確かに今日ここにありそなたと約束を交わしたことをわらわとの出会いは
What a twist! I know it's been like I've been in this conversation for a little bit, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
ゆっくり考えるがいいぞそしてゆっくりと休み明日の朝日に我が印を見て改めて考えてみるがいいだろうわらわは何も強要せんそなたが自らの意志で自由に未来を決めるがいいもっとも欲する者の対価がその程度で済むと悲恋をテーマに戯曲を書き上げた偉人たちが悔しがるぞそれでは
Oh Oh my
縁
god.
があったらまた会おう。久しぶりの会話は実に楽しかったぞ。さらばだ、家具ども。
Wow. I thought she said. Oh my god, she just finished that. Well, that happened. Beatrice's body covered like smoke and blew away. There was golden smoke, no, a flight of golden butterflies. They scattered no directions inside the reception hall, leaving a golden mist behind as they disappeared into She could have cleaned the room for them at least. After that, only cold silence was left. The extreme silence yeah. Which is why the wits had left it. She had left Mercs to make it impossible for them to think it was a daydream. As Sin and Kenan thought back at the butterfly bruises on their hands and the pain they had felt when those who had been left, they stood there for some time stunned and motionless. And from that day on, Shannon was tormented by days of suffering and conflict. Yeah! Well, technically not yet, but whatever. And I think we are going to end here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye!